What's happening, folks? Happy Monday night. Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. It's me, Gene, your host of the TPO Talk podcast. We got an All American Kayak Series focused show coming up for you tonight. Co-hosting is our man, Jimmy Straws. He's here with us. We've got some really cool guests. We got returning to our show here, old friend of the show, and one of the top anglers in this nation, Mr. Garrett Morgan. No one knows that those Arkansas waters down there like that guy does. So we've got him sitting there for us. But before any of that, let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. Happy Monday night, folks. Mr. Straws, how the heck are you, sir?
Oh, great. How you been?
You know, peachy. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. Flowers.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's, we're winding down summer here, man. It's coming down. Fall's about to crank up, which means all the schedules are about to go through the roof again. We get to fire things back up and make our mad dash into the winter months here before the freezing, kicks on. You got anything special you've been brewing up here over the course of this last bit of the summer? You been getting out at all?
I really haven't. Coming off of back surgery in February, I'm still trying to take it easy, make sure I don't hurt myself worse than what I already went going in. We're getting older. It used to take me 4 months to recover. Now it takes me 8 months, and soon it's going to
Right.
take a year. But other than some stuff for the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters, I will say in October, I'm over here looking at my calendar. Bassmaster is going to Caddo in October.
You're
That,
eyeballing that, huh?
yeah, that's got an asterisk next to it. I'm going to see where I'm at with work. That tends to get busy for me, but other than that, just finishing up the CK Beach schedule, going to Norton, going to Pueblo, and then if Caddo comes up, then I'd love to get to Caddo.
I'd love to see you get a chance to get back out there, man. I'm starting to approach where you're at with it when it comes to the national side of things, where I'm going to start just picking and choosing where I want to go. I accept the fact that where I'm at now in my career with things, where I can make my biggest impact is probably right here with this type of coverage. This
Yep.
type of show, and chasing the national game for me, I think might be a foregone conclusion, because I'm just going to be, I'll throw it out there. I'm just not that good, man. I'm not good enough to hang with those guys out there. I mean, I know I can go catch fish, and I know I can enjoy myself fishing, but when it comes to the competition side of things, we got to be comfortable in our own skin. I'm getting tired of donating to the guys I love,
Yeah, no,
It's
I
like,
hear
hold
you.
on.
And it's different, it's different traveling national than your own state. You know
Oh
what you're doing
man.
when you go out of state. Lakes change, personalities of the fish change, what changes the fish and how they react to conditions, rain, weather, everything that from north to south to east to. And if you don't travel that circuit enough and put your time in, you're going to get lost. And if you're left alone and don't have anybody to work with,
Yeah.
to kind of break some stuff down, you're by yourself. You're already at it from behind. So it's tough running a national schedule. I don't care where I finish. I just want to go hang out with the guys, see people like we're having tonight. Garrett on talking about a national guy. Man, look at what he's done
Yeah, no
from All
kidding.
Trail Series, right? So yeah, it's
I've donated to him too.
traveling as much.
He came down to Conway last year. I gave him some money.
I
That's,
believe that. Yeah, like in his back pocket right there. You should probably drag his kayak over his shoulder, walk down to a ramp.
that's right. That's right. So yeah. So speaking of, we got just a couple things to announce here. Then we'll get Garrett on to bring him on in here. So CKB, Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. We got a meeting coming up this Wednesday. So 2 days from now, we're going. Talk to us about that for anybody that's watching the show. And I haven't silenced my phone. There it went, droid. I need one that yells out "nerd," because that would be me right there with my phone. All right. Yeah. So we got the CKB meeting coming up. This is for paid members of the Colorado Kayak Bassmaster only. Paid members through this season have a chance to show up here and kind of go over some stuff and have a vote on some things. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I like to schedule a couple meetings a year, keep you guys informed as to what I'm doing as the tournament director, where the club is going, where you guys want it to go, so I can implement that. But mainly, this is a mid-season kind of review as to how the season's going now. Um, I'm already looking at the 2025 schedule. I got a couple options. I want to run some lakes by you guys and get your feedback. How much you want to do at home? How much you want to stay? At a state within our 4 or 5 hour drive. Just kind of get a review and talk over some stuff. And then we'll have our fourth quarter meeting sometime around October or November. That's when we'll do a lot of our voting for changes for the 2025 season. That's coming up. Like this is Norton's going to be our first 2-day event that we're going to do out there for the CKB. We haven't done a 5 one day and 5 fish the next. So there's some things that we're going to have to put into the rules to implement ties, or if there's weather conditions, who's in the lead, who wins. So just club stuff. And I just want to review that. But I really want your guys' feedback on some of the lakes that I'm going to be presenting in 2025 to make sure I'm putting a schedule together that keeps our members happy.
Right, right. Well, and that's one thing to, I mean, if you have, if you want to get more involved with what we're doing, if you want to have a say, you want to see where the members are, as a joint, this is your opportunity, to actually chime in and have your piece, at least be able to have your say in the matter. And that's one of the things I love about the CKB, man, is that it's by, just keep in mind, I mean, obviously, like with anything else, just because you say something doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you can be heard, right? And
Yep.
I'll be honest, sometimes a member has brought something up and they'll make a statement that is like, man, I didn't consider that. I didn't, and it changed my entire opinion of a topic. So it's like, yeah, we should, there's nothing to be hurt from this. So it's always an awesome time. We're going to be meeting where? Famous Dave's, is that where we're at?
Yeah, we'll be at the Famous Dave's in Thornton off of Route 7. They got a nice little room back there that's usually fairly quiet. We can get them to turn the cranking music down.
That's right.
It's always cranking back there. But yeah, it's not everything is always up for a vote
Right.
in the bass club as it should be. You can't give the members too much power. Somebody's got to stay behind the scenes, create. We can put some things out for a vote, but I want your opinion on lakes. Me, Matt, and the board are still going to make the decision of the schedule.
Yep.
I've learned, don't ever ask people, what do you think the schedule should be? Because everybody's going to have a different opinion, and somebody's schedule is not going to get picked, and someone's going to get butt hurt. I'll just be straight up frank.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, you didn't pick my schedule, and I'm not fishing with him. He's favoring his other friend. And so schedules aren't really up for negotiation, but I want your feedback on lakes and when I would present them based on a time of year, traveling, and all that stuff. And then I'll put it together from there, and you guys can be surprised.
And then I can back that up by the fact that after being involved with the All American this past season and seeing what goes into this and being a part of helping to negotiate certain aspects of putting these events together, the general angler, the general populace out there, it is not as simple as this would make more sense to me. No, it doesn't, because there's so many other moving parts involved in this to bring these events to make them happen that we as a general angler or a competitive angler, even if you've been competing for 10, 15 years, if you've never been involved in this aspect of bass fishing, then you don't have all the information. And so, yeah, that's where we trust the leadership involved. You'll make, and dude, you've done fantastic. Your track record speaks for itself. We get great schedules. The only thing that ever gets in our way is freaking weather. That's it. I mean, other than that, it's been right time being at these places when we should be. And so, yeah, well, good stuff. So, and speaking of, some of the changeovers going on, CKFC just elected and announced new board members for next year. So congratulations to all those, the new folks coming in there. This current board has been awesome. Loved working with those guys. Looking forward to the new guard coming in. That's going to be good times. It's like every 2 years, right? Is that what it runs?
I think they are for every 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, appreciate those guys stepping up. The ones that did step up, these guys are experienced anglers. They're experienced around being around tournaments. So, it's once again, it's going to be moving forward with somebody who's got that club in good hands.
Yep,
so
for sure.
It's exciting to see that they're the OG of Colorado. Started it off for the kayak scene. They've been around 10 plus years. So, CKFC, Colorado Kayak Fishing Club, is one of the originals, man. So appreciate everybody that steps up to run it, because it's a thankless job being behind the scenes as a tournament director.
Right.
You don't get paid to do this. and it takes a lot of time. It's literally a part-time job, especially after season. This running the season is easy for me. It's the ones when I get to the last one at the end of the year, now I got to start filing for permits and dealing with state parks and talking about a plan and putting together applications and sending insurances, and that's when the work begins. From October to March, I'm jammed with scheduling.
Well, especially here in Colorado now, 2 days, man, because I mean, they're making it harder and harder to just do simple things. It's, there's more paperwork, there's more garbage that you got to go through. So that's always fun there. Joining us right now, looks like coming from Facebook, Mr. John Rapp himself. What's happening, brother John? Catch his show tomorrow night on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network, Rusty Hook Podcast. You don't want to miss that. John always has a great show. Speaking of OGs in our industry, he's definitely one of those. Yeah. Love seeing him stop by. And then, of course, a face that's not unfamiliar to the state of Colorado, looking at us chiming in from YouTube, Mr. Collins says, Caddo, let's go. And
that's right. Yeah.
We're going to be having
guys talking. I haven't gotten to the loop yet, but I know there's a couple guys talking about going.
Well, we've got I got some cool news with Mr. Matt Collins Fishing we get to share. He's going to come on the show and make the official announcement here. He's done it, I think, already on Facebook a couple times, talked about it. But we're going to have him on here. We're going to dig into the details of it and really get in. And, super, super cool. He's one of our anchor, one of the first members, of course, that for the TPO Pro team that we put together there. And also from Facebook, man, he's probably still out in Oregon, I think, a few hours behind us, Mr. Jason Lovell. What's up, Jay?
Sure.
So, awesome stuff. Well, cool, man. We're hoping that going forward, we're going to get maybe with this next season, if you folks tuned in last week, you heard the news, the Doc Talk will be leaving the Paddle and Fin podcast network. It's just based on future plans and things we got cooking right now for next year. We have to, before the big heavy season kicks off, we wanted to make some changes. We're still going to be talking about Paddle and Fin. They are still, a family to us. We love those guys over there. Still highly encourage people to check out. I believe it's 7 days a week right now. It might be 6, but I believe it's 7 days a week. They got a show for you out there on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. So give them a subscribe, give them a like, follow those guys over there. It's a good growth splitting that's taking place right here for us. We're just repositioning ourselves a little bit. So everything will remain the same. We'll still be on the same, social platforms, of course. And our audio downloads will continue to be out at all the major audio platforms. Our show will still be on there. Might even have a show name change, though. That might take place. We'll see. Again, this is all about the future and looking. We're positioning for some cool stuff we got coming down the pipe. So, all right, man. Well, he's been patiently waiting here. The guy's he's been doing some family duties here as a dad. Guy sitting in our green room here right now, Mr. Garrett Morgan. No one knows Arkansas waters like this dude. Let's bring him on in. What's up, brother Garrett? How you doing, man?
Oh, doing good. Appreciate y'all having me on tonight and ready to give a little preview for Lake Ouachita and talk about what's going on down there.
So that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go around here because James had some pretty curse words for Google's voice deal that when I was like, no, that's not how you say it. According to Google, this is how you say it. So you pronounce it Lake what?
Lake Ouachita.
Ouachita. Jim, how do you call it?
Ouachita.
Okay.
Right?
And according to Google, I don't know if you can hear this or not. Let's crank it up.
Lake Ouachita.
Lake Ouachita.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you what James said about that.
G-rated with G-Money. We'll keep it G-rated with G-Money.
That's right. Hey, man, so you say you're out with the kids there? You just got done with some volleyball, doing a little family stuff out there? That's super cool.
Yeah, my oldest had a first volleyball game of the season. She's in 7th grade. So that went well. I think we found her sport. So that's kind of cool. That just kind of happened by chance. She's been in soccer for, I don't know, since she was probably 3 or 4.
Oh, wow.
And, she kind of blended in there with other kids, and she liked it. It was there, but watching her play volleyball, you can tell, like, she's just different than the other kids out there. And
that's
she
awesome.
served 15 straight times today. So
Holy
we're pretty
crap.
pumped and pretty proud of that. So we got out there with a W and headed to the house.
Heck yeah. So you got just the one, or you got more than one kid?
I have my 11-year-old, well, soon to be 11, 10 at the moment, but she'll turn 11 in December. Ainsley will turn 13 in November. But she plays softball, and so we did that this weekend. She hit pretty good. Their team, at that age, man, it's all about pitching and catching. Do you have somebody that can catch the ball, and do you have somebody that can throw strikes? Right. So we did for about 2 games, and then it went a little downhill on the pitching and catching side. But they're getting better and having fun, and they keep us busy. But honestly, that's why I don't fish as many tournaments anymore.
Yeah.
As we're just picking up with stuff going on with the kids, and I've all but pretty much quit local trails. However, I did volunteer to take on Arkansas Bassmaster next year.
Oh, no kidding.
No one's really picked that up and done anything with it. And I went to the championship last year, and I saw how many people were there from Tennessee. And I'm like, guys, we got too many good anglers in the state of Arkansas not to have a trail that our anglers can qualify locally.
Yep.
And there's really not a whole lot of extra work to do. So we have a really good local tournament trail, around the state. There's several different trails. There's about 5 trails. They're all very strong. So my vision is I'm just going to partner for one event with each trail, and there's our series.
There you go.
We just get a different sponsor to take care of those trophies for us, and there's really no more work on anybody's part for the most part.
Right. Now that's the way we do this, man, is by working together and doing those type of things. We're doing something similar out here, kind of, in that we've kind of extended the olive branch to a lot of our partnering states' bass clubs around us. And so, we went and helped boost Nebraska's numbers. There was 10 Colorado anglers out of a field of 24 anglers. There was 10 of us that went over to Nebraska. That allowed them to send 2 people, from their state as opposed to the 1. And so we're kind of hoping to be able, with us, it's going to be a little different because we have a pretty solid, consistent base of between 25 and 30 anglers that show up. So with our club, and so we do request that if you're going to fish with us in the championship, you got to at least fish 2 events. And, that's the anglers, kind of helped, request that because we didn't want anybody poaching anything. It's no, if you want to come deal with us, we have stingy ass water out here, so we get pretty protective of our stingy water. So.
Yeah.
But no, man, speaking on your deal there, dude, it is you're doing the right thing. I've got 2 adult kids, man, and the years that you have right now, these are the special years. I coached sports for 18 years when I was doing that, and the fact that they're involved, that they're having a good time, dude, they're learning such key lessons and things in when they're out there that they're going to carry with them the rest of their life. These memories will stick with them. So it's super cool to see a dad, especially a guy like you that's a high skilled, one of the highest skilled in our sport, and you're making your priority choice. I look at that stuff and go, hell yeah. See, you got brains.
Well,
that's why he's good at that. Because those dad moments you don't get back. So that's awesome.
Well, they're both at the age where it's getting fun,
right?
Where there's actually a competition, and sometimes it's coming down, to the last inning of a game, or a last serve at a volleyball game. So there's not a bunch of whistles and a bunch of stoppage.
Right.
And that's what I said. I told my wife a long time ago, if my girls ever chose to play basketball, she'd be there by herself. I'm not watching little girls try to play basketball. It's like double dribble, out of bounds, walk. It's like constant whistle. So I've managed to avoid that, and I hope we stay on that. Because, man, that's painful. But, the first year of softball or 2 where the girls were actually pitching, that was pretty tough to watch, but we got through that.
That's awesome, dude. That is awesome.
Are you the dad that's always yelling at the ref? Come on, make a better call.
No.
You're kind of low key.
I'm super low key. I don't coach my own kids because I know I'm too competitive, and I go to the games and I just, other than cheering them on, I just kind of sit there and shut up. Now, There was a moment this last tournament softball where I did just get up and go sit somewhere else. So the catching for our team got that bad, and it's one of those things, where it was like, oh my God, I'm gonna go over here and play on my phone until this inning's over.
Yeah.
You know what he did? He had the opposing team shirt underneath his original shirt. He's like, man, this is horrible, man. Watch this. Watch this.
No, so I had
that's when you go over to the other bleachers and yell at the ref. You know, stand over there on that side.
Yes.
Come on.
You blind ref. Yeah, so I had my youngest, who's now 22. Both my kids played hockey, and my kid, when he first started off, his idea of what was hockey was what he saw of the Colorado Avalanche and what he saw on his Xbox game. That's what he thought hockey was. So here this 8-year-old is, and the only other redhead that he saw was our enforcer, Cody McLeod, on the Avalanche. So he thought what the name of the game of hockey was to go out there and yard sale people every chance you get. Well, at that age, too, he was usually bigger than most of the other kids. So here he goes out in the 10 and under league at 8. And oh my God, dude, I'm telling you, he was just trashing people out there so bad that as I'm watching it from the stands, a couple ladies over here, oh my gosh, who is that 18 kid out there? I'm just like putting my head down. I'm slinking back into the background like, yeah, who is that kid? Holy crap. Well, good stuff, man. So we're coming up on, we're coming into your backyard there.
Oh,
Lake Ouachita.
I'm super disappointed that I'm not able to fish this one. I just have a commitment Sunday.
Right.
But, I'm not getting a chance to defend my title at Conway since they drained the lake.
Right.
Which I'll tell y'all, in 8 years, that's going to be a national destination. It's going to be a miniature version of Lake Fork. I guarantee it.
Holy Moses.
Guarantee it. I always wondered why it wasn't already. Producing more 10, 11, 12-pound fish. And, it's just over the years, there's 5 creeks that feed that lake. There's one exit, just the amount of sediment that came into that lake. You can already see how much the lake has dropped just by them lowering, opening up the dam, draining it all. I mean,
wow.
Things have just really compressed down. And they're going to come in and hard pan a lot of areas, create more depth, make some boat lanes. So I'm looking forward to the day that it's back up. But I was still planning on coming to Ouachita.
Right.
Just didn't work out for me schedule-wise. But I tell y'all, it's really gotten better since the last, couple big events that have gone there. I know there was a HOBIE championship there a few years ago. There was the KBF event that was there.
Right.
And it's really a different lake than what it was back then.
So the thing has, according to this, offers some 66,000 acres of water on this thing. It's one of the largest in the state.
Yeah, it's a huge lake. And there's really a little bit of everything for every kind of angler out there. So,
clear water to stained water, deep, shallow.
There's not a ton of stained water this time of year. We just haven't been getting a lot of rain. But I'm sure you can find somewhere some wind-blown banks and stuff are where there's some clay or something on the bank where that's kind of mixed in, maybe some spots up in the river. But what's so different about that lake today than when we fished it for the HOBIE and for the KBF event those years back, gosh, that was like 2019, I think.
Yeah.
There's so much. Yeah, there's so much more grass in the lake now. So grass really plays on this lake now. That didn't used to be a thing. There's a possibility of somebody, catching over 90 plus inches 2 days in a row, or even a few folks. Whereas before, you're kind of looking at a mid 80s. Local events I've won out in there or been competitive in. And I don't know if I ever won a local event on that lake, but mid 80s would generally win the event. Whereas now, I feel like you got to get 91, 92 or so. I'm not going to say a person can't go out there and catch 100 on one of the days. I just don't see it happening on back-to-back days on that lake. But, if y'all hit it just right, if someone really figures something out, I could see somebody, going for 100 inches one day and mid-90s the next to win the event.
Right.
I think if you're wanting a top 5 or top 10, high 80s or low 90s consistently on both days. So it should be a good event.
That is fantastic, man. Something like over 200 islands on that. How much do they play in a guy's strategy there? Are they worth looking at? Is it what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, they are worth looking at. When I got third in that KBF event, there was a particular island that I stayed around for both days. And it was in about 45, 50 foot of water. And there was a ton of submerged timber that came up, to about 20 foot. And those fish were schooling in that timber. And every once in a while they would come up. Now I'm going to share some juice right here. So y'all
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
attention. When they came up and they were, busting shad, of course you get them on top water. A lot of folks will give up on that school when they go down. The thing that I do that most people do not do, I pick up an A-rig when they go down and throw it back out there and let it sink for about 20 seconds and start rolling it. And I picked up several stragglers that way in that particular tournament.
Hell
and
yeah.
So that's just a little trick that I've learned over the years. A lot of people put that A-rig up after February.
Right.
Well, what emulates a ball of bait better than an Alabama rig?
No kidding.
And, in kayak tournaments, as far as I know, every organization allows you to throw them. Arkansas, you can have 5 hooks. So why not bring that sucker, and you see some schooling fish, throw it at them.
Heck yeah. And that's the thing is because when they go back down, a lot of times that's that suspend time, right? It's like they won't always just completely reset. Sometimes they're suspending, till striking again there until they get fired up again, another time through. So yeah, that's awesome stuff. Jim, when you were there, what was your thought when you were going into that place? What were you looking for?
Wow. I don't know. Coming from Colorado, I went there and I did map study. I'll be honest. I mean, Garrett was there, and it was the best of the best fishing that TOC in 2019. I went there for 14 days, and I used it as a vacation. I pre-fished. I literally hit every ramp. I went from Denby to Brady Mountain. I went up north. I went to Little Fur. I went out to Twin Creek. I went around that whole entire lake and just fished everywhere. And then I had so much information come tournament day. I'm like, I'm going to go. So I just went.
It's almost like having none, right? When you get too much.
Hey, that's a thing, man. That is a thing.
Yeah.
It really is.
100%.
Before that tournament on Conway last year, I hadn't won a tournament on Conway in a long time because I got so many spots. It's like I'm always like, where do I go? Where do I go? You kind of get spun out before the event because you got so many options.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, you get in your head, you get to spot A, and as soon as you get to spot A, you're thinking, should I be here? Should I not be here? Are they going to be right. Should I be in spot B? And you never really settle down, and you pass right through everything. But I'm not really a cranker, and I made a decision that I'm just going to go to Stainwater, and I'm going to crank. And I went to Twin Creeks, and I went across from that launch ramp at Twin Creeks, and there's a bluff wall that makes a cut right there. I just had a 5XD, and on the first day, I was just jacking them. But they were getting the back hook, and I didn't have that stinger hook on the back, and I probably lost like 3 17s and an 18 that day. That first day completely killed me. I went back the second day for the TOC. I switched that back hook to that big swing treble, that stinger on the back, and I stuck everything, but it was too late. I was too far behind. I couldn't make the comeback. And Jody Queen and Matt Scotch were fishing Twin Creek, but they were in that southern arm of that area when I went to the northern part of that arm.
It's that old saying, you can't win the tournament on day one, but you can damn sure lose it on day one.
Yeah. And Garrett, there's all 3 species in that, right? Smallmouth, spots, and largemouth?
Yeah, but honestly, the smallmouth and the spots don't play on that lake. I mean, it's a largemouth lake. Yeah, you can catch, a few smallmouth, but if you got smallmouth in your limit, you're not going to win that tournament. It's, there's few and far between. And our smallmouth and the Ouachitas and the Ozarks here, it's not Tennessee River or even 10 killer, those ones that really get big. I mean, a 16-inch smallmouth that's a good smallmouth in Arkansas.
Wow.
So yeah, you don't want to bet your tournament on that. But
right,
something that he brought up was cranking the 5XD. From this lake. And that is something that me and my brother have done. He actually has a cabin across the lake. And So we're out there quite a bit. But he keeps a Tennessee shag colored, 5XD and 6XD on the deck, along with a sexy shag colored one. And dude, we'll throw it in standing timber. And most people, right? You can wiggle it through there. We've caught. You got me?
Yep. You were cutting out just a little bit. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Well, anyways, but that is a strategy to use, and also taking those as you go into these pockets, they'll be able to cut left, and you'll see where the water would naturally drain in these ditches and come into the lake. Throwing those bigger crankbaits right down those drains, you'll catch a lot of fish doing that on this lake this time of year and all the way into October, really.
That's outstanding, man. We've got some stuff lined up that I'm going to be with the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance in Joplin at that same time, so I won't be able to make this event. But yeah, it's definitely one of those that I have a feeling that have to get some guys together, get down there, and just get some, maybe make a content run to get down there and just take a bunch of content, hang out, and enjoy it, because it looks like it is just beautiful. Now, I said this last week. My first introduction to Arkansas, brother, was coming from Alabama into Arkansas and going to Texas. Okay, I was cutting right across the lower end. And dude, all I could remember of Arkansas was Little Rock. And so I was not impressed with that state because of Little Rock. It's like those roads are trash. And oh my God, the traffic. It was just brutal, going through that area. And so I didn't have the greatest opinion of the state, right? And leading up, I'm like, yeah, you can have it. It's take it or leave it for me type thing. But then last year, we go down to Felsenthal, and on the way down, I went through Joplin and then followed that down because I met Josh Boothe there, and then Josh and I drove down, for the rest of the way for the championship last year. Oh my Lord, that section, that western side of Arkansas, that is just absolutely stunning. That is some of the most beautiful country that you're going to find in the entire U.S. I'm just telling you right now, it is, and I've traveled a lot of the U.S. and that is just gorgeous, through that area there. That's it's a beautiful section of the state.
I tell you, that section of the state also is just world renowned for trout fishing. People come from all over the United States, all over the world to come trout fish in Arkansas at the White River and the Little Red River, which at one point held the world record brown trout.
Wow.
And, that's only 45 minutes from my house. And from really nice, bluff walls and good scenery all through the Ozarks there. And, of course, you got the Buffalo River, which I would love to see us at some point do an event on the Buffalo River. It's one of the only dammed up, or not one of the only rivers not dammed up in the state of Arkansas. It's a national river, really pretty area. But that's actually why I live where I do in Conway. I can kind of get to all that stuff up there and still run down the hot springs and fish those lakes down that way as well.
It is definitely, you're in one of those areas. I mean, one of the cool things seeing here about the lake, it doesn't freeze up. So, I mean, you've got literally 12 months to fish that thing, it gets cold, I'm sure, but it doesn't completely freeze over. So it's, as long as you got moving water, man. I know we have one lake in the state that comes pretty close. That's Pueblo. It stays usually no ice on it for the most part. And we got guys that'll fish 12 months, basically going down there, even in the coldest of terms, just to get a chance to try to fish, when you can. So that's super
I'll
cool.
tell you, something to warn anglers about down there. My brother's been out lately, and he said there's some gnats out there on the lake right now that will just eat your ankles to death. So definitely long pants, socks and something over your feet. And maybe want to even grab one of those little cheap nets from Walmart. Apparently the gnats have been really bad around the standing grass that's on the bank there. But anyways, it's just, a little tip to throw out there for folks.
Is that those no-see-ums? Is that what that is? What they call them, no-see-ums?
He was saying something about they introduced them to help kill off some of the grass. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not.
Yikes.
This kind of just popped up. But that grass is really taken off on the lake. There's some of that grass that's on the bank. There's also coontail, and there's also hydrilla in there right now. So
For sure.
I'd tell you a part of the lake that's probably not fished as much in tournaments that has produced some big bass in our local trails. I know the big bass have been caught out there a couple times. Is the state park area, and there's some good grass around there. So if folks are down, get some time to pre-fish. It's a good place to camp. Good place to just go fish. A little different. I'll tell you another strategy that Jacob Wheeler used there years ago when he won the FLW championship was just taking a whopper plopper and just going in and out of all the little fingers basically as fast as you can. And what you're essentially doing there is looking for what they call those wolf packing fish, where there's,
Yep.
3 or 4 good sized fish, 17 to 20-inch fish that are running those banks just looking for brim and just feeding on brim all day. And so that's one of those strategies, though. You're probably going to fish for about 7 bites all day.
Right.
You're going to lock that big whopper plopper or a big buzzbait on your hand, and you're going to cover as much water as you possibly can. But if you haven't ever watched Jacob Wheeler do that, there's an old FLW video out there. Just go to YouTube, type in Lake Ouachita FLW, go watch that. That strategy is fun and it works, but you can't be one of those guys that, I'm not catching fish. I'm not catching fish. I'm not because you're going to make a lot of casts and not catch fish. But when you do, they're going to be the good fish.
So, James, you're one of those guys that you need that feedback, right? You need to be hitting fish to stay mentally in the game, right?
Unless pre-fish has told me not to. I just find it hard to go, I know this is going to work, but I really don't know that it's going to work. So to lock something in your hand and you go an hour and a half and not get bit, but you'll still stay committed and focused to that bait, especially a topwater, because you get lazy on those topwaters, right? And you're just going through the motions after an hour and a half, and all of a sudden, and if you're not ready, you're just like, and nothing happens, and you just sit there like, I got to set the hook, right? And you're like, whoops, I just blew that, and there goes another hour and a half. But yeah, that's me. I'm that guy.
I've died on that sword many a times, where I just get so stubborn in my head that I'm looking for big fish. I don't care about little fish. I want big fish only. So yeah, if it's 6 bites, 7 bites, fine. I just got to fish clean and land them. But yeah, here in Colorado, you got to be in places like Ouachita, because there it has the population of fish to pay off. Here in Colorado, that technique will not work, simply for the fact that we just don't have enough fish in our waters to support that kind of fishing. Yeah, you can get a big one, and that'll be what you get for the day. And maybe if you're lucky, you'll get that big one. We just, our fisheries aren't as healthy as like what you guys have, in the rest of the world out there. But yeah, it is a fun way. I don't mind it myself.
But, for the jig fishermen out there, there's bluff walls on this lake. Iron Fork is a river that's on the north side of the lake that if you follow that river all the way out towards the lake, there's bluff walls all the way down, towards the lake. Some good chunk rock in places. I've, cashed a check in a local event there on one of the bluff walls in the past, just throwing a jig. But, yeah, there's a little bit of something for everybody out there, in my opinion.
That's awesome, man. And folks, we're talking about the All American Kayak Series coming up. What do we have here? Where'd that calendar go that I just had? We are coming up on this event here for September 14th and 15th. Lake Ouachita. There's still time for you to go out there. You got a couple weeks here. Go get signed up at Tourney X. Jump on in there. No membership is required to fish with us. You can. The only time a membership's needed is when you're going for AOI points this year. We did a lot of changes to kind of make it easier to come fish with us. I know what is the big club in Arkansas, Niska, and what is that? The Natural State, is that the big one that's out there?
It's Natural State Kayak Anglers, NSKA. Yeah. And there's a branch in Northwest Arkansas, and then we started one in Central, probably about 6 years ago or so.
Nice.
So it's the biggest one in the state. I would suspect a lot of those guys will fish it. The guys from KBA will definitely jump in it. That's their little area down there in Hot Springs. They got some good sticks that if they jump in it, they'll be competitive down there. So I'm gonna be watching this one, man. It's gonna be fun to see who figures something out and comes out with some big fish.
Well, and we have our new format that we introduced this year is our 10 fish format. So basically what it is you catch your 10 fish, and it doesn't matter when you catch them. It can be day one or all on day two.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's your 10 best fish is how we're going to count it. So you don't have to worry about preserving a honey hole, man. If you get in there and you get on a wad of them, burn that thing down.
Burn that mother down.
Yeah, get your 10 fish up on the board, and get them in there. Or if you can't make both days, or whatever, you can, because we do have guys that need to cut out early, or some guys that go and light up the scoreboard really hot on day one. They can take it easy on day two, go get some biscuits and gravy somewhere and then go get on the water.
I mean, you're really kind of making a case for me to sign up for this thing.
I'm just saying, dog. After you've given all this juice to us.
Hey,
and don't tell this guy to go out to breakfast, because I know after in 2019 we're at Ouachita. We all went to Lake Fork that February in 20, and he and I both launched out of Coffee Creek. And then all of a sudden he's like, man, this place sucks. I'm going to breakfast. He pulled out and he went to breakfast for 2 hours and then wax on him. And what'd you take? Third, fifth, fourth?
I did cash a check, but I can't take credit for that, man. I tell you, there was a guy I used to fish with that told me this story about his dad doing that. He's like, man, yeah, me and Dad, we was down here fishing on Millwood. His buddy I grew up with in Texarkana. He's like, we wasn't having a good day at all. So, hell, we loaded up. We went and got breakfast. And then we came back and fished, and he won the damn tournament. I was like, what? So that morning, it was going bad. And I mean bad, brother. It was not good at all. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna go find some breakfast and, dump in somewhere else and go see what happens. But every once in a while, sometimes you just need that mental break from yourself,
That's what I was going to say. It's proof in the pudding that this game is so mental, man, that we run ourselves over so bad that sometimes, however, you got a breakfast, you just take a break. Sometimes I've literally gone back to the pickup and just had to sit down in the pickup real quick, look through some extra tackle that I'd brought. It's like maybe something else here, and just kind of reset your brain and like, okay, let's get back out there now. Let's go do this again, and let's get after this. So yeah, it's if a lot of guys, the real good guys, you guys do it out on the water during competition. They reset themselves or whatever. And then, you got guys like Garrett that'll just rub salt in the wound, but it's like, yeah, I'm a head out for a little bit, then I'll be back. See you later, sucker. Our state champ did that last year in Colorado for the Bassmaster State Championship. He come in, he fished, he had to check out because I think he had a baseball game or something he had to go do with one of his kids.
Game. I think it might have been a soccer game for his daughter.
Yeah.
He went and did a soccer game, then came back, finished up, won the state championship for us here. Yeah. It's like, you jerk. The rest of us are out there grinding away.
Let me ask you this, Garrett. You're going to take over the Bass Nation Arkansas series next year. Are you going to be doing? Is your championship going to be a open event that anybody can come to as long as they pay dues or whatever to get into it? Your Bassmaster membership, your nation dues, or is it going to be a closed event for only people who hit your trail series?
I think we'll talk about that and see what everybody wants. I would like to make all of the regular season events like open to anybody, but then a closed championship for people that fished it. I mean, I just kind of feel like that makes the most sense.
Yep.
That would be my preference, but I'll get other folks' opinion on it.
When you've got the numbers, that I agree. I think that's the way it. When you've got good turnout on a consistent basis, it makes sense to protect those anglers that commit to your series, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's because we've all been there. We're all on that side of it. But in the areas in the states where they don't get, like like Nebraska, they don't have a series. They hold just a championship, so they keep theirs open, which that makes total sense too, because they don't want to shortchange anybody. WKB is going to be the same way. Wyoming Kayak Bassmaster is going to remain open like that because you're just not going to have a lot of guys that can commit to that. So, it makes sense here and there.
The other piece of it, if people can travel into Arkansas, well, then heck, they can probably travel to national events for the most part, right? So,
Yep.
you know, don't come try to jackpot, you know, at the
Right?
end of the year, because the whole point of us doing this is to create, you know, an avenue for anglers in the region. I won't say necessarily the state of Arkansas, but, you know, there's going to be some people from Oklahoma that are closer to us than maybe some of the stuff they got going on, and Missouri closer to
I
us,
was going to say,
whatever.
you know, you're going to get
So,
them Moyak boys coming down for you.
hey, that's fine. You know, but here's something I've felt like our local trail should have done a long time ago, and, you know, it just fell on deaf ears. You know, for their local series here, to me, they count way too many events for their Angler of the Year. And you see that the national events have, you know, kind of stuck between 3 and 4.
Yep.
And to me, that keeps more anglers because they still have a chance. If you have an event with your kiddo,
Cutting in and out there, but I think the point of what you're saying is it keeps more people
we're back.
engaged.
I
There
dropped
you are.
Wi-Fi for a minute there.
Well, that's all right.
All right, you there?
Yeah, we got you now. You were saying that you think with that 3 and 4. Oh, looks like you froze up again. Where's my good screenshot snipping tool? I need to catch some of these facial expressions like this so I can blackmail some of these guys.
Am I back?
Yep, there you are.
Am I back?
You're back on Earth.
Had to go in the house here, but anyway,
That's all right. Yeah.
My point is, you know, I want to try to keep as many anglers involved throughout the course of the year as possible.
Yeah.
And I think once you make it like 5 or 6 events, if a guy misses an event because, you know, I don't know, uncle got married for the 3rd time or something, and he's supposed to be at the wedding, you know, then he's done. Like,
are we related?
I know, right? Yeah. But then he can't get his events. Whereas if you keep it 3 or 4, the average kayak angler, who I think probably fishes 4 events a year, you know, the average local guy, to me, I think that's what this is designed for.
Yep.
To try to keep them interested. But I feel like if you're going to have Angler of the Year, it shouldn't be a participant of the year trophy. Like, who went and participated the most, you know? Right. So if you're narrowing that down to like 8 people in a club of 40, I mean, is that really the Angler of the Year, or is that the participant, you know, of the year trophy? So for me,
had more time off than the other guy?
I want to see. I want the majority of the anglers that fish the series to be able to get all their points, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So if there's 40 anglers, I want 35 of them to get all their points for their AOI. To see where it falls. Let's give everybody a chance to be involved in the deal.
Well, these guys are lucky, man, to have you, because, I mean, you fished at the highest level, you know, that our sport has to offer right now, man. And so you've got a good grasp and your thumb on the pulse of things right there. So like we have here at the CKB with Jim being at the helm, he knows what we go through. He knows what we're thinking, you know, in there. So he tries to set us up for success like that as well. So I'm excited, man. I'm going to continue to put pressure on my wife to get, because I keep telling her I want to get a condo like in Missouri somewhere that we can sneak off to for 3-4 months out of each year, get out of here for a little while, and then come back. And I'm like, yeah, shoot, Arkansas is a hop, skip, and a jump right down across the border there.
Hey,
that'd be a lot of fun.
I guarantee you, all you have to do is type in timeshare Branson, and something will pop up.
Oh God, yeah. Branson. My wife told me that's the old people's Las Vegas.
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Well, are there any questions from folks on YouTube or anything about the lake or what to expect? Nothing coming in, huh?
I'm kind of blown away there. We've got a great amount of people watching on all the channels right now, but not a lot of questions. Folks, if you have questions about the lake, please fire them up here. That's why we're live. That's why we're doing this. That's why Garrett stopped by. So, yeah, let us know if there's any questions out there. And a lot of what we'll see also is that right about this time also there's another podcast that goes off that grabs a lot of viewers, and so people catch our show sometimes recorded.
Okay.
I do know that, so we'll be watching that stuff for the comments as they come down.
Now let me ask you this: in the series this year with the All American, have y'all gone like most trails to where it's like designated ramps, or is it still open in this series?
Josh Boothe wanted to maintain the advantage of kayak fishing, which is our mobility. So, no, we have boundaries. And as long as you can launch within boundaries, then you can go just about anywhere, as long as you don't portage. That's the key. You can't come out of your kayak to get where you want to get.
So if there's some folks with some trucks, they don't mind getting scratched up. There's some national forest roads on the northern side of this lake.
Nice.
That have little dirt ramps all over the place. Now, fair warning, if you come across a creek, put it in park and go see how deep it is before you drive across.
This sounds like an experienced statement right there.
Well, that was from my brother, but he pretty much he drowned a Tundra out there.
Oh no!
But anyways, insurance covered the cost, but
right.
It is what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of kind of out of the way hidden spots. Now you will get your truck scratched up, going through some of that stuff. So if it's something that's near and dear to you and delicate and you keep nice, probably not the thing to do. But if you're coming like me and mine scratched and didn't at this point, I don't care. There's some really good places to try to get to on that north side of the lake.
I like that stuff, man.
On some of those national forest roads. Too bad it's not hunting season because you're going to see a lot of deer driving around that way as well. So it's really beautiful country over there. Lots of good things to check out. I'll tell you, if we get some rain, the rivers could play. Sometimes that water comes in, can be a little bit cooler, whether it be over at Iron Fork or the Ouachita River or over there at Twin Creeks where James said he fished. If we get some good rain between now and then, y'all watch the weather, those little areas could play pretty good that time of year.
So now, am I reading right? It's 62 miles from one end to the next. I mean, it's a good sized body of water. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, and it's going to take longer to drive that, because you're in the mountains and, nothing's just a straight shot. So kind of keep that in mind when you're driving from spot to spot.
Are there any areas where there's big bridges that cross over there? Is that in any of the skinny areas, or is it pretty much if you're going to drive around it?
If you're going to drive, you're going to drive around it. The only bridge that comes to mind for me right now is just the one that goes over the Ouachita River.
Okay.
But that's a narrow bridge. It's not real big, and it's kind of where the river comes in up there. But hey, listen, don't let me make y'all think you got to go far to find fish, though. A lot of these marinas on the south side of the lake, there's a lot of retreads around there. They have a lot of tournaments on this lake, and there's not a lot of ramps that can host a tournament. So those ramps that you look at, you're like, oh man, they could probably do a Thursday night tournament there every Thursday, or they could, probably have a BFL event here. There's going to be a lot of retreads around there, and it's likely that some of those have gotten together and are schooling early in the morning too.
Right.
So it would probably benefit folks to, get here early and pre-fish.
So Bill Sanders tuning in through Facebook says, "Where's that honey hole island? But don't tell everyone though. Just tell him."
It's somewhere between the Crystal Springs launch and Iron Fork.
Oh, great. Yeah, good luck there.
There we go. All right, You set, Bill. You good to go now. You got your marching orders there. So go get her.
And if I remember, Garrett, the area you're talking about by that state park, that's the northeast kind of corner of the lake, right? If I'm thinking right, is that the northeast of state park?
It is on the east side of the lake. I want to say it's on the south end though.
The south by the damish area where Echo Canyon is and all that. Yeah. Because I fished Echo Canyon and I was going to go in there, and I actually got into some decent spots down there at the TOC. Super deep, clear water, but I knew it wasn't winning fish. I had to get bigger fish if I was going to compete with those guys at the TOC. But yeah, Echo Canyon was a great little place, man. I launched my kayak. I felt right at home. Bluff walls right there, sitting 14 feet from the bank. You're in 35 feet of water, and I'm like, wow, super clear. You can see down and. Yeah, it was there, but man, I needed a little stain and some brush piles.
Well, and I'll tell you, I'll be interested also to see what some of the finesse fishermen that come in from out of state, what they're able to do here. Of course, we have, guys that do the forward-facing sonar thing here, but there's not a ton of people that really do the drop shot thing. There's not a lot of ton of folks that Ned rig around here. So just because I like to go out there and crank and I like to throw an A-rig and top water and all that, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody came here and did something totally different, very finessey, and really got on them because they just don't see a lot of those presentations on this lake.
When you're liable to get access to some fish that haven't been pressured too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But like you said too, you gotta make sure you're keying on those largemouth and not smallmouth are the spots, because you could get burned spending that day out there in deep water drop shropping for the wrong, I don't want to say species, but the wrong genius, so to speak.
Wrong flavor.
Yeah, exactly. Wrong flavor. You want to get around, like you said, those submerged trees, islands, or brush where those largemouth are going to congregate.
Well, if you see hybrid bass out there, not the true stripers, the hybrids, a lot of times there will be largemouth mixed in with them. Now the stripers, not so much. Obviously, they'll get eaten. But there are some giant stripers that I could see a guy, if they got into him, being like, "Man, screw the tournament. I'm gonna catch these for a while." But dude, there's like 30 and 40 pound striped bass out there on that lake.
Dang.
There's some good opportunities for somebody to go out there and catch a dream fish.
So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So now they talk about also that this was this lake was, so it's man-made. It's a man-made reservoir backed up there for the hydroelectric. Is there much of a draw? Is there a scheduled draw that goes on with this where they start pulling a little bit heavier? And if so, like in Table Rock, dude, when they pull water, that turns a switch on with certain points. They come alive when that flow starts happening. Does that happen here?
Unless you're just right up there by the dam, the lake's too big. The lake's just way too big. Like
Gotcha.
You don't even notice it.
Okay.
Wind would affect it more, I would think. The wind direction. Set them up on points right way.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. It's good to know, because I watched that happen at Table Rock, and that is a huge body of water. But I'll tell you what, when they start pulling and they get that schedule going there, I have seen that firsthand, where a point was felt like it was a dead, just a desert, and then all of a sudden this current starts going, they start pulling, and within 10 minutes of that, 15 minutes of that, all of a sudden, boom, this point comes alive. They just start moving into this area. It's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea it could affect that much, but I know that doesn't happen on many of the bodies of water out there.
Our lake that does that here is Dardanelle. Dardanelle's the lake around here that if they start moving water, it's on.
Got it. Good to know. Mental note taken, right?
I saw that green. He's like, it's on.
Dude, it is. Hey, I'll tell a quick story, but I was fishing an area at a local event probably 2 years ago or so, and I was leaving the area, and to get out of this, backwater area, you had to go through this pinch point. About the time I'm pulling up to it, water just starts getting sucked out of there. And so I take a topwater frog because I heard something kind of blow up. And I just skip it, in this little pinch point. And I backlashed. And so I'm sitting there picking the backlash, and I noticed my line ran right by me. And I was like, oh, crap. Something grabbed it. And I'm not kidding you. I sat right there for 12 minutes and caught a fish every single cast and won the tournament.
My God.
It was just nuts. Yeah. But that's one of the few lakes where it gets like that here.
So now it looks like on the east side, there's a lot of little towns around, down, especially down on 270 down there. But on the east side, the big one is Hot Springs, right? Is that that's the main? Now on the west side of the deal, looks like the biggest that you're going to find, and it's not super big, but it's a little bit bigger, Mount Ida.
Yeah, there's basically nothing there. There's like a grocery store and a gas station, maybe. So.
Good to know. Yeah. But as far as amenities and stuff, it all seems to be pretty much south on the southern side of the lake, for sure, is where you're going to find the amenities and such in there. Looks like camping's kind of the name of the game, or there is a resort here, and I'll let you folks know here shortly coming up. We were set to work with these folks, but there's been I don't know what happened with the communication. It seemed to die off there, so maybe new people have taken over with certain areas. But Mountain Harbor Resort and Spa is who we were going to be working with for this. You'll notice their names all over all of our stuff for promotion, but I've not had any feedback from those folks just yet, because we're looking to do the awards there is what we're trying to get done. Hopefully by tomorrow morning, I'm going to be calling them back up here and see what we can get locked in for the awards there. But that seemed like a really cool place there, that Mountain Harbor Resort.
Yeah, all those little spots around there. There's plenty of Airbnbs in Hot Springs, lots of condos in Hot Springs, lots of hotels.
Nice.
So Hot Springs, is a pretty good little town there. Downtown after 10:30 can get a little sketch.
Gotcha.
But if you stay kind of around the interstate area for the most part, you'll be good to go.
Yep. We've stayed in a few of those places. We got one of those down down way south for us called Trinidad. It's there's just certain sections of town you don't want to take your kayak in there unless it's bolted down, type thing.
Yeah.
Who knows what you might end up with in the back of it by the time you get out of the parking lot.
I mean, hey, if you get bored and want some entertainment, though, go to Walmart about 9:30 p.m. on Saturday on Central Avenue. You will see more walks of life than you're ready for.
Absolutely. That's pretty much all around the country at Walmart. You can find that.
Listen, Hot Springs on Central Avenue is very special. Trust me. You
don't
want to miss that. So if you get bored, you need to go down there about 9:30 at night on Saturday.
Awesome stuff.
It's very interesting. That's for sure.
Awesome stuff.
So that's where we'd find Lambert and the boys hanging out down by some place like that, some grungy rundown bar out there is where those guys be hanging out till midnight the night before the tournament.
Yeah, they'd probably be more towards downtown. Now the casino, I will say this: the casino is kind of downtown, and it is actually nice. They've done a lot of work at that place. It's at the horse track. They do have good security there, secure parking. If you're someone that likes to, go spend $50 at the, whatever table or in a slot machine or something, go give them some business. That, they've done a real good job of making sure that's all good to go down there. And it is a lot of fun. I haven't checked. Sometimes they have little concerts and stuff down there on Saturdays.
Nice.
Might be worth looking into. But that little casino resort really has blossomed and actually become something.
That's cool, man. And that's one of the cool things about with us traveling around the country, even, regardless, is the being able to support these local economies, that host us like this. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It goes a long way when anglers do that because we can, when it comes time to start setting up that event again, we can use that influence, right? And we can talk about that no, man, it's, we've had, 40, 50 anglers coming through. They're hitting those grocery stores. They're hitting, especially kayak anglers. They're hitting the campgrounds. They're hitting the gas stations, and we can bring that economic little bump to them, to an area.
Well, I'm about to have to go, but I'm going to give you one more little piece of juice. A little area we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
Blakely and Little Blakely. So this was an area that one of the top 3 anglers on day 1 of the FLW event was knocking it out of the park. Okay?
Outstanding.
There is a grass line that runs one of the creek channels there, if you can find it. And if you can find you some red bug colored old monster worms with about a 3/8 ounce weight, if you got some nail polish, paint that thing with some red glitter. I'm not making this up, bro.
Are you screwing with somebody right now? And if you got a green hat, wear that on the day you throwing it.
I'm telling you, drop this thing on that grass line and be patient with it. If the sun's up and it becomes a hard bite, you can catch some big fish that way. So Scott, I'll tell you, I can't take credit for that one either. I learned that trick watching Scott Suggs.
All right. Yeah, he knows a thing or two about that neck of the woods down there.
He's won a lot of money on that lake.
You can get your nail polish at Walmart on Saturday night at
right.
Roughly 9:30 on Center Avenue. Is that what you said?
Central Avenue.
Central Avenue, yeah.
That red bug colored old monster worm does well down there.
Outstanding. Well, listen, man, we can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day and spilling the juice like this for the anglers that are going to be coming in there, dude. This is seriously from all of us. We don't have the words to express how appreciative we are of you doing that. I know you got family time there, so this means the world to us, man. That you'd stop in. I'm looking forward to following you out there a little bit more and getting you back on the show here when talking more about results here after after you get back out there and start cashing some more checks, having breakfast, doing what you're doing.
Well, man, who knows? I may jump in and try to catch 10 fish on the first day and
hell yeah,
at least throw my name out there and see what happens.
Burn it down, brother. Go get your 10, burn it down, and go home and collect your money sitting on a chair on Sunday.
But anyways, no, I do. I want people to come to our state, have a good time. That's
Hell
why
yeah.
I don't mind sharing. Even when I help with the local club, we did a little show on Thursdays where we would do like a preview for the tournament and kind of, share
Nice.
with what's going on. Because, we want people to catch fish and want to come back. So
Yeah.
I hope it's a good tournament. I hope people have a good time down here and enjoy hot springs. Like I said, that casino resort really has become something. There's some good local venues to go listen to some live music. The best place to eat, though, Colorado Grill. It's a little Mexican restaurant, and it's legit. Good margaritas, good chips and salsa.
Awesome to hear, man. Awesome. The Colorado Grill in Hot Springs.
Yeah, great seeing you, G. It's been a while, so stay cool and tight lines, brother.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right, you take care, Garrett. Awesome stuff, man. So that dude, he spilled the beans on this place, right? I mean, we didn't ask him to get that in depth, but that was that's just who the dude is, man. He has no problem sharing with you. He wants, like he said, he wants people to do well, and when you've got the skill set that he does, he's not worried. I mean, he'll go do what he's going to do Garrett Morgan things regardless of what he tells you. And he'll give you exactly what he's doing, and he'll still beat you with it.
Well, 100%. He'll give you the juice, but he's going to give you the juice with the pulp. He's going to keep the pulp-free juice to himself. That little snippet at the end. If you listen to him closely, he's giving out juice, but you got to read between the lines. He said something about grass that was not there when I was there in 2019, and I was going to ask him, but he wanted to go. So, how much grass is taken over that whole entire lake? Is it around the whole thing? Was the water lowered because of some reason, or did they not get rain? And then they pulled water and it opened up that bank, and then that bank grew grass, and then the water came back up. Or did they plant something in there? What's the deal with that grass? Why did it all of a sudden take over? But he kept saying grass. So all you guys going into All American, run those grass lines, use that side imaging, use that 2D in practice to mark those edges. As you come over it, you can see it drop off that grass when it's sticking up. Mark that stuff, and you can set up and parallel that and drag that red worm. I mean, right there, that was basically what I would do if I went to Ouachita, based on what
apparently up on the north, if you're up in those northern trails up in there, if you're running your side scan, you might find a tundra, because it sounds like they drowned one up there.
In the creek channel, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They do. They drop off big time there.
Yeah, for sure. We had a guy on CKB. My man Lucas got himself stuck. Was that Swanson?
Wasn't that at Swanson Lake in Nebraska.
He got stuck out because the ground got real soft real fast. That was rough.
He was fender deep, like to his running boards, right? Like,
poor
you got
homie.
him pulled out, or do you have to call a tow truck? I can't remember.
I think he got a tow truck to come in and get him, because we didn't have a tow strap that was going to be long enough to get a hold of him. I went down there to go check on him, but by then I think he was already squared away and had some stuff going. But yeah, that was because the water was down so low. The ground started off nice, but then there was one little patch. It just turned into complete quicksand. Yeah, man, this is going to suck not being able to fish this. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet for me because I'm absolutely stoked about going to Joplin for the wall. That's our primary focus, right? That's what we do these days. But still, obviously, the angler in me wants to see that. This might have to be a bucket list place where we just take a run down there, man, and do find a break in the schedule somewhere and go take a run and get after some of these, especially if it's early, because down there it won't be cold. At least near as cold down there. So that'd be a cool time to get in there and see what's happening. But yeah, if for those of you that are fishing the All American, watch this, listen to what Garrett tells you there. If you're looking for places to start, it looks like there are a lot of areas, no matter where you go. Look for your strengths, and you're going to find that stuff on here. You can fish to your strengths in here. And he gave you a couple big keys here. Greens is what it's going to take. So get after the greens. That's what your focus is on. How awesome is that if you can just focus on those green cross-eyed crazy ones, right? I mean, that's what you're looking for. That would be awesome.
I mean, that just says it right there based on a seasonal pattern. It almost tells you where to look. And that's why he was saying the grass. I'm guessing those fish are just sitting inside the edge of that grass, waiting for something to come by. They'll shoot out and they're going to ambush and then go back in the cover, right? So versus the smallies and spots, that's the guy like me, Josh Gardner, and Chen out there like this, spinning in circles, chasing the drop shot stuff, and we come up 3 inches short because Garrett's up there jacking largemouth out of grass in 2 feet of water.
I still liked what he said about that. He's interested because when he was saying that about using the finesse techniques, he'd be curious to see how that. And I immediately started thinking of a bunch of Colorado anglers that have finesse fishing down to it. You're one of them that have a finesse fishing down to an art. And that would be cool to see, you guys put some of that work to it, especially getting around some of that shrubbery. But, a long time ago, man, I was one of the first things I was ever told, and I always remind myself, I say this to myself at least one time during every tournament: find the grass, find the bass. If there's grass, they will be there as long as it's healthy grass, right? The brown dead stuff, not so much, but find that grass out there and you will find bass. They use it. It creates oxygen in the water. It gives them a good protective ambush point. And so, it's I've seen them on the Mississippi River. I've watched bass hide in, 1.5 foot of water in grass lines. And they will come, you pitch in there just to the edge of it with a little craw or jig or whatever, and they will come smoking out of there, just to tear that stuff up. So it is real all across the country, wherever you go. So that's exciting hearing that they got it down there.
Yeah, for sure, because we don't get to experience that out here in Colorado.
No.
We are pretty much grass-free lakes for the most part. So, once again, back to that national thing. We cut our teeth here learning in Colorado in deep, clear Western reservoir type situations, and we go to fish a national trail, and we want to get out to 10 feet, 11 feet, which is shallow to us. But, man, the people like Garrett and Cody Milton and Russ Schneiders and all those guys that are at the top, they're all fishing 4 feet or less most of the time, and they're whacking the heck out of them. So it's just a learning experience. Once again, like, keep your mind open and don't let your style dictate how you fish all the time. Break the body of water down based on its personality and geographic location.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, brother. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up here. This was an awesome show. All American Kayak Series going off here in September. Go to TourneyX, get signed up. Again, you don't need to be a member. You can fish this event with us. 10 fish format. Catch your 10 fish either day. You have a great day one. Take it easy day two if you want, or just keep your foot on the throttle and on the pedal there and keep going for day two. Or you have a rough day one. Guess what? You're still in it because you have till 12:30 on day two to get out there and bag that thing up. So go find you a big old nest of them, big old wad of fish, and put your 10 fish up. We've had many anglers so far this season cash checks. After day one, they were way out of the money, and after day two, they went out there and made up a ton of ground. Next thing you know, they're cashing a check before they leave from the deal. All American has some of the best payouts you're going to find out there, so absolutely go check it out, folks. Make sure you're heading down there, Lake Ouachita. Don't miss this. It's got great history, and it's setting up. It looks like it's fishing super, super good. So, Mr. Strauss, thank you so very much, brother. I appreciate you tuning in here and giving us your expertise.
I don't know. I wouldn't say expert.
Well, you got a lot of experience, man, and that's always good to pass that kind of stuff around. Folks at home, make sure smash that subscribe button, hit that like button. Again, that's what keeps us moving here. YouTube, subscribe. That's the main thing. Tell your friends, tell your uncles, your aunts, and everybody about it. Get out to YouTube. Get a subscribe going for us. That's a big help out there. And check out the Paddle and Fin. 7 nights a week, there's a show on somewhere on the Paddle and Fin podcast. Guaranteed you'll find something. It's all about fishing, all about kayak fishing. Great guests, great hosts, great shows. Check them out and make sure give a good subscribe and a good follow as well. Mr. Strauss, thank you again, everybody out there.
Yes,
Tie
sir.
lines. Be safe.